It's your car and your drive and your chance to win. Enter for a chance to meet a Team Chevy driver and win your favorite Chevrolet at winyourchevy.com. And we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing after our third caution as we've completed 139 laps. Kyle Busch has moved his way from 19th up to second place alongside of Jimmy Johnson. Of course, he's going for the trifecta. This is his 5th attempt at pulling this off, and he's had some success here. You can see the wins that he's had here at Bristol. Green flag in the air, and behind those two, it's Edwards, Rudeman, Truex, and Newman.
There wasn't any doubt in my mind that Kyle Busch would get himself up into the top 5. I didn't know he could get to second in 140 laps, though. Pretty good race car and a really good race driver.
He's right on the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson right now, side by side. You can see further back, several cars still trying to sort it out. You mentioned Greg Biffle. You saw him there. He restarted after the last caution when he took those 2 tires in 7th. He came out in this one 12th. And you're still not a big fan of the 2 tires, are you, Andy?
Well, I haven't seen anything so far tonight that makes me want to do it. It's just seems like it just takes too long for him to get going. And as competitive as it is, I mean, all these cars on top of each other, it's just, if you're off a half a tenth, you're going to be going backwards.
Andy, I was wondering on the 2-tire deal, is it the temperature cold versus hot with this new tire, or is it an air pressure thing? We know how sensitive this is to air pressure, so the right sides that are going on have the air pressure down compared to where they start with 4. Maybe between you and DJ, do you think that that's causing an imbalance that just won't let these cars get going?
I think me and Dale were just talking about it, and Dale seems to think that it was this hard tire, and that's exactly the characteristic of a hard tire. It's the best when it's brand new, and has a lot of grip, and that's why these guys can take advantage of Greg on these restarts.
Got some great action going on right there in that 5-6 car pack. You got Ryan Newman along with Matt Kenseth, and there is Martin Truex, and Jeff Gordon is now into this mix. He's up to the 8th spot. Kurt Busch is shown in 9th, and there's Juan Pablo Montoya going side by side with Busch, and he's going on the high side to get around him.
Yeah, great run by Jeff Gordon here to get himself up into the top 10 this early in the race.
Remember, Jeff started 26th in tonight's race.
Now, there's not a lot of people that are better driving this racetrack than Jeff Gordon. He's proved that over the years.
Yeah, but just remember what happened to him last week at Michigan. Got all the way up to 2nd, then had the problem. Ended up costing him a lot of spots. All right, Clint Boyer's also got a lot of work to do. There you see Casey Kane, Kevin Harvick. And there he is, Clint sneaking up in there as he has worked his way already back up into position. Let me check the board here.
Yeah, just about to 21st on the racetrack right now.
Right, 12th in points now as he's gotten enough spots back up. He's in 21st, as you mentioned.
He's just going to have to battle back and on that inside. You know, they're not the majority of the people are running middle to the top of the racetrack, and if you can make your car work down there and you have enough patience, it's a good place to be. Now you see the log jam is right behind Greg Biffle. He's in that upper groove. That might play out pretty well for Clint Boyer. Can make that bottom of the racetrack work. See now, Casey Kane was actually looking underneath Greg Biffle.
Kevin Harvick also in this mix. There's the 12 of Brad Keselowski, and right in between Menard and Harvick. Harvick has not done what he's normally been doing the last few races, which has been steadily working his way forward. He's sort of been mired back here in the middle of the field. What's the story, Jamie?
Well, he is one frustrated driver right now, Marty. He was loose, so on the first round of pit stops, he came in and they took some air out to help him out. Well, that was not the right call. This team is confused on what to do with these new tires, and before the last round of pit stops, he came on the radio and let him know his thoughts.
I've got to figure out what we're doing with tire pressure. No way we're going to be able to win this championship if we don't know how to adjust the air pressure from loose to tight. We made loose looser. Going back on that air, going to drop the track bar right here. Just put the air back to original. We don't know what we're doing with the air. Just adjust the car and leave the air alone.
So obviously their driver is not trusting the call on the air pressure, so they're trying to figure it out and going another way with the track bar and leaving the air pressure alone, guys. So it's not helping the 29 out right now as he's in a big gaggle of cars, Marty.
Okay, Jamie, thanks for that update. DJ, what do you think?
Well, I was just noticing some of these guys about what Rusty was talking about. There's Jeff Gordon. He's moved himself up to the 8th spot. Mark Martin, who's just behind him in 10th. Dale Jr.'s moved up to 12th. I think these guys started really running whenever it got dark here. So they were maybe adjusting their cars or had them adjusted to the nighttime racing. I think Rusty's exactly right. Things change a lot. Ray talked about how the track changed a lot. These guys are moving forward right now. Jeff Burton's a part of that group, too.
Well, if you look at even with Kevin Harvick and what they were talking about with air pressure, that track could have changed enough during that time that it gave them a bad read on that air pressure. So that's some of the things you could be fighting.
Well, you talk about teams making an adjustment. How about all four Hendrick cars being in the top 12 right now? Remember last week their best finish was Jimmy Johnson, and that was 12th.
And Jimmy Johnson has really been solid tonight, and that's something we haven't. Well, we've seen him run the first part of these races pretty well and kind of adjust themselves out or not adjust properly at the end of the race. So we'll see what happens the rest of this one tonight.
There is the race leader, Jimmy Johnson, on top of your screen with Kyle Busch now in second. David Ruderman has moved up to third. Carl Edwards and Ryan Newman round out your top 5 after 159 laps here at Bristol. Back here at Bristol Motor Speedway, where Jimmy Johnson has led 165 of 167 laps. And there you see the 48 right in front of second place Kyle Busch by 0.3 of a second. And our points leader Kevin Harvick right now is running in 20th. Jeff Gordon is the biggest man on the move right now. He has climbed 18 spots up to 8th. And the guy going in the wrong direction, A.J. Allmendinger, he has dropped 20 positions. Let's get you updated on Tony Stewart. Remember, he had that problem after having the contact, was all the way back to the last car on the lead lap. He's now 22nd.
Keep your head up, guys. We're still good. I'm still good shape here. So we got plenty of time. We got a good race car.
Now, Tony came in twice in that previous caution flag. They had to take a brace beneath the rear bumper and a brace with the right rear quarter panel. He came in the second time to fix the clutch panel in the back of the car. And up front, challenged the 18 and the 48. Jimmy Johnson under attack, guys.
He certainly is by Kyle Busch. They're side by side. Here we go.
That was a really nice move Kyle Busch made on Jimmy Johnson.
Well, that's just a perfect pass right there. He saw where Jimmy was going to get slowed down a little bit by the lap car. Just took advantage of that high side and was able to go around and make the pass all the way to the lead. 170 laps.
He becomes our 4th different leader, our 5th lead change, as he now tries to open up some air.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to force Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canals to adjust on this car, like we talked about earlier. Will they make the right adjustments and be able to get this car where he can win?
You know, on the bigger racetracks, that's what we've seen here recently, that's been something that's kind of been their nemesis that they have when they had to start adjusting. We see this pass being made. See, Kyle just got to the right rear, forced Jimmy to hold it down. Then the nice run off the corner gets him to the lead.
Let's check in with Dave Burns.
And I like the discussion of whether or not they will adjust to that higher line, because on Friday's qualifying session, Jimmy and Chad stood atop their truck and watched other drivers move to the high side in qualifying and fail. They had errors. They said, so let's stick to our plan of running the low side during qualifying. And he put it on the pole. And as I mentioned earlier, they worked a lot on the low side. So I expect them to stay there unless they get really lost and have to move up there, guys.
Well, you saw both of them go around David Gilliland. He is now 3 laps down in 32nd position. Let's check in on Mark Martin, Casey Kane, as those two are going after it. Jeff Burton's in this mix as well. Burton's 13th, Martin 14th, Kane in 15th.
Jeff Burton's been able to make his move a little more forward, too. I had commented to Andy earlier when we were doing commercial that Jeff Burton was really surprising me that he wasn't running any better. But I think that goes back, Andy, to they were set up more for this nighttime.
Yeah, I heard Rusty say when that sun goes down, things change, and they do. And you know, he was very, very patient. They made a good pit stop and made it probably a good adjustment, and now he's starting to go the right way. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is another one that is making a nice recovery here. He's all the way up to the top 10.
Well, another guy who's recovering is right there in the 33, Clint Boyer. Remember, he got the penalty, and Mark Martin, you just saw him wiggle there, and if Denny Hamlin gives him enough vision out there's rear view mirror, he is going to see the 33 coming.
Yeah, we see Casey Kane in this mix too after his pit road deal. He made a nice recovery, got himself up there to the 14th spot, so plenty of time to get to work their way to the front.
There is Kane. And right behind him, Denny Hamlin and Mark Martin.
Yeah, we'll see Mark keeps sliding back here. He was up inside the top 10 probably 30 laps ago. Now he's falling back, and the guy that he's going to see in his rearview mirror next is the guy he's racing for that 12th spot. So he knows that with Boyer right there behind him that he is sitting outside that top 12 again.
The action continues here at Bristol Motor Speedway as there you see A.J. Allmendinger as he's had his issues tonight. And he's got Mark Martin going around him. Allmendinger right now was 2 laps down in 30th position. Kyle Busch working traffic. That's Tony Raines in the 37. Here comes the 48. Jimmy Johnson underneath as well. There's your top 5. We've clicked off 183 here at Bristol. Does Kyle get the trifecta? Stay with us to find out.
Hanging out the window, 15